All-On-4, All-On-6, 4-on-4. Implant Supported Arch. Goes by a lot of names, but I'm here to invite you on the journey. And this time, I get to be the subject. Little background about myself. I currently work with clinicians all across the country on helping tell their story, and those that focus on becoming experts or are already experts at dental implants and All-On-4, All-On-6, the full mouth restoration surgery process. How in the heck did I end up in this chair? I've asked myself that question more than once. Well, God has a plan, and sometimes you just got to walk it out. For over 20 years, I've been an entrepreneur. Grew up in an entrepreneur house, know nothing other than entrepreneurhood. Grandparents, uncles, brother, everybody in our entire family is an entrepreneur. Multiple different venues. The road that I took was started in '98 in Arizona in the real estate development business. We sold all of our holdings in 2005, and I got into the oil and gas business because all of our family was in it out here in Texas. Moved out here, got into the oil and gas business, had a great run. What a fun business, what an adventure, what a stressful business. And that stress caught up to us in 2016. 15, 16, oil dropped to $30 a barrel. We had a well go $10 million over budget. And now I had to lay off a team of almost 30 people, and we had to shut the doors. And so now it was time to decide, what do you do from here? Had a lot of friends that owned their own business, and they asked us to help them because we really grew in our heyday. We grew the oil and gas company to a pretty good portion for a small company. So they asked us to help them with their businesses. And so I started working in different verticals and went in one day to my dentist that had fixed some dental implant work for me. So I'm going to take a minute to kind of give a little dental background too on this. Back before I got married, I decided I've always been self-conscious about my smile, right? That's always been the weak part of my confidence, of my presentation, of who I am. And like it or not, it is just one of those things that can get you sometimes depressed, get you frustrated. And so when it was time for me to get married a little over 10 years ago, I wanted to get my mouth redone. I wanted to get veneers or caps or something to really get my mouth done right. So I did, and I interviewed some people, and I actually ended up going to Mexico, did some destination dentistry, found a guy across the border that actually taught in the U.S., that went down and interviewed him, and guy kind of seemed like he knew he was doing. Fast forward, he ended up doing my whole top row, and ground down the teeth, put on some zirconia caps. Moving forward, in about 2014, 15, needed to get a dental implant done. I saw how expensive I thought the dental implants were. I was blown away and going, oh my gosh. Well, I had to have two done actually. So I decided to look at destination dentistry. I had good luck on the Mexico side of things, but really wanted to make sure, now we're talking about surgery. So I thought, okay, make sure you go the right route. Make sure if you're gonna try to save a few dollars, at least go with the best clinician, best route you possibly can. So did my research, looked at Poland, looked at Mexico, looked at Vietnam, looked at Malaysia, there's a lot of places you can go that are a lot more affordable that advertise doing dental implants. Settled on Costa Rica, found a doctor there, and I decided, let's have a vacation with all the money that we saved. So had one of the best vacations of my history. I got to bring down my wife, and at the time, my 2-year-old son, my mom and mother-in-law, and we got to be down there for a little over a week while they did the surgery and had the follow-up appointment. Then about 6 months later, I had to go back and get the restoration done once the implant healed. And so I did that. And then about 6 months after that, all of a sudden, I'm in my bathroom one day and I hear a rattle inside my head, which is pretty disconcerting. And I hear that rattle and I'm realizing, uh-oh, I think something's a little loose to the work that was done. I started looking around for somebody local because I can't just fly to Costa Rica. I wanted somebody local, but I really wanted an expert. I realized that just for me, a general dentist, although there are some really good ones out there that can do some implant work, I wanted somebody that had a little bit of a higher degree of education. And my mom recommended looking at a prosthodontist. What the heck is a prosthodontist? We'll get to that. But we go in, I meet Dr. Iskander. He is originally from Egypt. He had an oral surgery background. He was kind of no nonsense. There wasn't any of the fluff. And I'm not kidding when I say I hate the dentist. I hate the dentist. Dentists and attorneys, just in my opinion, there are a few good ones out there, but a lot of them take advantage of you, and you just feel like you're paying a lot of money for not a lot of love. And so I'm pretty skeptical, and we'll ask Dr. Iskander at some point what my impression of him was, or how I came across when I first came in. But came in, he looked at everything. Fast forward, I ended up going with him instead of flying down to Costa Rica. He fixed up my dental implant, had to do a pretty major sinus lift and bone graft. Fixed the implant, it healed. Well, again, reminding you, I'm still in the oil and gas business. After everything shut down and I'm working for these other companies on helping them with business development and marketing, I go into Dr. Iskander's practice at Radiance Dentistry. And in that process, he asked me what I was doing. I was shared with him how we're helping some of the other businesses grow their revenue through digital marketing, through print marketing, video, and photography. And in that process, he asked if I'd be interested in looking at Radiance as a client. We sat down, we made a proposal to him, and he said, let me teach you the dental implant game. Let me show you behind the curtain. And for that, I'm very grateful to Dr. Iskander. Fast forward, he spent a lot of time, energy, and effort, and we decided to make that a focus of 620 Business Productions. That 620 Business Productions was going to really focus primarily on doctors, primarily on dentists, and primarily on dental implants. So to really understand, because I'm a dental implant patient, because I know how much dental implant patients hate the dentist. I know what that fear is. I know that coming from a patient perspective, there is somebody in your history, I guarantee you, with 90% of the dentists out there, of the patients that have had dental implants, a dentist has hosed you in the past. I know that frustration. And that's a different kind of, it's just a different kind of patient than the guy who needs the cleaning or a filling or a veneer it's fear. Will I ever find a dentist that'll get it right? Is there one that won't take advantage of me? Is there one that'll be fair in pricing? Is there one that will be gentle? My anxiety, good night. I'd sit down in a dental chair, 160 over 100 easily would be my blood pressure, just sitting in it. And I have pretty high tolerance for pain. But sure enough, ever since I was a kid, I've had multiple dentists to where, I can remember 12 years old in the dental chair and laying back and how much sweat was coming down my forehead, how I could feel just the texture of the chair, because I'm literally, my back is drenched in sweat. And I'm sorry, that's probably too much detail, but anybody that has, there are a lot of people out there that have gone through this experience that know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's fast forward. I'm now learning the dental implant world. I'm understanding about its infrastructure. I'm understanding about osseointegration. I'm understanding about the periodontal ligament. I'm learning way more than I ever could dream about dental implants. But I really felt like we had a mission, like we could help these clinicians around this country not only um, become better businessmen, but become better chairside dentists, meaning their chairside manner, how they're going to treat the patient, and that we can have an impact upon an industry. So we started producing a lot of good success for Radiance Dentistry. We took them from about 130,000 in collections to, in about 2 years, to about 500,000 in collections. That's per month, and that is a pretty significant growth. In that process, we got to know the vendor of the implant brand that Dr. Iskander used. It was called MIS, which actually stands for Make It Simple. Their headquarters is out of Israel. They are now owned by Dent Supply Simrona, and their U.S. headquarters at the time, the CEO was Moti Weissman, and we got to go up and meet Mo and Moti, and with Dr. Iskander, we actually flew up there and really got to know the MIS team. And they saw some of the results we did for Radiance. So then they asked us to start helping some of their other clinicians. Even though we were already working with some across the country, they asked us to kind of be their official marketing company to help their doctors out. They invited us to go to the Bahamas with them for their global symposium. Very gracious, paid my wife and I's way, and we got to be a part of and spend 3 or 4 days with 2,000 dentists in the Bahamas, with listening to Dire Straits one night. Again, one of those memories where you're going, how in the world? But God has a sense of humor. Got to know them well, and in that process, really kind of grew on not only the exposure in the dental implant world, but also in the amount of clinicians that we had access to and the level of. So we were able to start dealing with and talking to some of the top clinicians in the world about dental implants. So now I see we've got a really unique access to the dental implant world. It's a gift, a unique one, but a gift to be able to have access to all these top minds in the dental implant space. So now Dr. Iskander was a very particular about the material he was using. He did specialize not only in dental implants, but in the All-On-4, All-On-6, full mouth restoration. And I had talked to him about my mom, who had 20 years prior gotten dentures on her upper, and her lower teeth were going to need either dentures or some solution. I talked to him about it. He was extremely gracious. He and my mom had a great bond from the beginning, and he always said he thought of her like his mother. And so he took on her case, was very gracious to her, and did her lower case. And in that process, he actually developed a new material to, instead of zirconia or a acrylic, which is the material that the All-On-4 is made of, he found a new nano ceramic, a hybrid type nano ceramic material, and he's wanted to launch this nationwide. So I helped him build Zircon and Zircon Dental Designer, Zircon Ultra, and brand it, help get, understand that material and tell that story for the patient. Again, so now all of a sudden we're understanding the material about this. I give you all this background to let you know I've gone through this process with my mom. I know how much this process can scare people, how frustrated, how angry, how hopeful you can possibly be, how many questions, how complicated it can be. And so, again, by having the family experience, by having access to all these clinicians, to the lab guys, to the different patients that we've interviewed across the country, we're going to invite some of them on as well. But I wanted to invite you guys on this journey with us to come learn, as I now have to go through this, to say, okay, we're going to go through the different case planning steps. We're going to look at the materials. We're going to look at financing options. We're going to talk to some of the experts in the field. And just as full disclaimer, nobody is paying us for this. I negotiated my price, and I am paying for this a lot of money. I negotiated my price with Dr. Iskander. The reason I chose him is not just because I started with him, but I really have gotten to know, and he specializes in this process. I mean, I'm fortunate to have interviewed a lot of clinicians around this country, and I ended up settling on Dr. Iskander, and he has a new hire to the team, a new member, a new partner to the practice, Dr. Ratana, which I actually met out in San Francisco on one of my speaking engagements, because now we're actually teaching courses for CE courses for MIS on business development and marketing for dentists, for dental implants. And so now we want to invite you guys on the journey with us. And again, I wanted this to be clean. I didn't want Dr. Iskander paying us for this, so he's not. This is a 620 production. MIS, they offered, because of the relationship, to give some of the hardware free and really help bless us. And as grateful as I am for that, I really wanted this to be pure. I wanted this to be for the patient. I want this to be for the son out there looking for homework for his mom. I want this for the mom out there doing homework for their son, or for their wife or husband, or just for themselves, to really have everything consolidated into one place and have the ability to really have a lot of questions answered, to go behind the curtain and know this is not a commercial. This is not, I'm going to ask Dr. Iskander and Dr. Ratana and all the doctors that we're going to interview, I'm going to ask them hard questions. This is not going to be a setup, and I'm not giving any of them questions ahead of time. This is going to be as real and as raw as possibly can be. I'm going to invite you into the surgery room. That's probably going to be an episode a lot of you are going to want to skip. But I want to give access for something that is not only such a big investment, but it is a significant life change. I mean, I'm looking forward to having, God willing, can my top row be done? Can I now know that I don't have to worry about this anymore? And I know that's what everybody else out there is hoping. So join me on the journey. I really appreciate you guys taking time and letting me rant a little bit and getting to know us. And any questions you guys have, please feel free to reach out, to comment in the comments below. I'll be happy to try to answer as many of those. And we've already got a pretty good list of questions we're going to answer along the way. So again, appreciate you guys, and here's to smiling for the future.